kind of leads me to, it was a busy weekend, and the last thing I wanted to talk about today, we'll talk later in the week and recap and look at a couple things. But a thing that really bothers me, and I'm not going to say it pisses me off segment, but it really bothers me as a father of 4 kids and 2 daughters of the 4 that play sports and aspire to play college sports in some capacity.
Mm-hmm.
You have a son and a daughter. We're probably old when it comes to being okay with new things and that type of thing. But this weekend, yesterday, ESPN ran a story, and it was celebrating National Women's Achievement Month or something like that, whatever March is. And they ran a story of a lady to be celebrated. And the lady they did a story on is Leah Thompson, who was the swimmer out of Penn, who was born a dude and is now a transgender. I think you're on mute now.
I didn't mute it.
Oh, it says mute. Anyway, born a dude and swimming at the University of Pennsylvania. And my gut instinct is shame on Penn, shame on the Ivy League, and no dude is going to compete against our daughters. And I'm going to scream and yell and cause all kinds of havoc if it ever happens. And I don't know why Americans are afraid to say the same.
It's an interesting conundrum because we want to be tolerant and accepting and understanding of people's struggles to become who they are on the inside. And it takes a lot of courage to do some of these things that I've never had that internal battle with myself. So I appreciate that. But that doesn't make it, the Ivy League shouldn't say, come on and swim. And Penn, should they, at some point you have to say, I'm making a change, but I'm not swimming against.
Okay, so here, I don't care what you want to do. I don't care what your sexuality is. I don't care if you want to identify as a man, a woman. I don't care if you say I want to be a water bottle. I don't care. It doesn't affect my life, and it shouldn't affect anybody else's, and no one really should care. Okay, I have an issue with the bathroom situation, and I have an issue with this, but that can all be cleaned up and fixed. Yep. The issue I have is with biological men playing against biological women, and everybody thinking it's okay. And I'm embarrassed for the Penn parents who didn't stand up and say something. I'm embarrassed for the Ivy League for allowing it to happen. And I don't understand how it happened. I don't understand how ESPN ran a story about it, celebrating her. Kobe Bryant's been dead like 2.5 years, and we watched all these females talk about #GirlDad and how Kobe Bryant was this great girl dad, celebrated girls. And now they're celebrating a guy who is swimming against girls. Hey, he sucked as a male swimmer, and then he dominated as a women's swimmer. There's not a high school basketball team, a good high school basketball team, a top high school basketball team that wouldn't destroy the top college girls basketball team. Okay. Right. There's not a track star who's a boy who wouldn't dominate women. And any woman athlete will tell you that. It's just, this is where we come into the common sense part of the show and the program. And why in the world does anybody think that this is okay?
Well, and it's a sign of the times, and it's empathy, but it's also, you're talking about, they just celebrated Bruce Jenner 2 years or 3 years ago.
There's ladies who've been women for 50 years. Bruce Jenner's a chick for 1 year, and he gets Woman of the Year. I mean, how does that make you feel?
I'd like to be Megan Rapinoe and doing what she does, because she's got a strong internal fortitude about her, and she does what she does. I'd love to know what her opinion on this was, because I find it very interesting that they would honor that.
The only lady who's speaking out about it is Riley Gaines, who was a swimmer, at Kentucky, I think, who lost to her and is raising hell about it. The international track and field, so basically the Olympics,
yes,
said no, we're not doing it. You can't be born a man. And so at least they're putting their foot down. Yeah, Megan Rapinoe or whatever the hell her name is. Okay, so some guys start coming over that look just like you, except they were born as guys.
Guy.
You're crying, and you're the girls soccer want all this equal pay. Well, that's fine. We're going to equally pay the guys who decide to transgender and be on the women's team. So you're not even going to, you're going to be out, you're going to be off the team. You're not going to get equal pay. You're going to get no pay. I mean, does that make sense?
It really does. It's a weird scenario, but yes, they need to make a uniform. Like the NCAA has to step up, the different conferences have to step up and say, we're going to do it like this. And then
the Ivy League, in my opinion, that's their second strike in the last couple of years from an athletic standpoint as a parent. You know, the second year of canceling sports because of COVID, I thought was really bad look. And then allowing this, because I mean, how does the Yale football coach or anybody not come out and say this is stupid? I mean, everybody's so pussy whipped and so afraid to say anything. I mean, this is common sense. How's the coach, like, why doesn't the coach say, I'm going to quit, I'm not coaching this guy? I mean, how's a parent say, my daughter's not swimming with her? How do these teams not say, we're not swimming against her? I mean, you know, years and years ago, when, you know, I hate to equate it to a civil rights movement because it's not, but years ago in the civil rights movement, men and women and everybody just said, we're not competing, this isn't right, or we're not going to do this isn't right. How did teams not say, we're not swimming against him, we're just not doing it? And how stupid would they have looked if everybody just uniformly said, we're not doing this, we're going to hold our swim meets at the YMCA 2 weeks from now, and he's not invited.
It's a sticky wicket, to say the least. Very curious to see what we get in the comment section on that one, Bergie, because it's I
don't see, like, if you have a daughter who plays soccer or basketball or field hockey or lacrosse or softball, you don't want her playing against guys in college.
Yeah.
You don't want her playing against guys in high school. I'm not talking about, you know, co-ed t-ball. I'm talking about college sports. I mean,
sure, I get it.
The women's movement has come so far for Title IX to be completely destroyed by, you know, dudes who can't make it as male athletes just changing over. I mean, just saying, I'm going to take
and it's one thing to go through the transgender process, but then being able to compete as an athlete on the new sex, that's where the problem, that's where the issue really arises.
Every decision has consequences. Everything you do has consequences. Yeah. If you feel so trapped in your body and you need to become a woman, one of the consequences of that is, okay, but you cannot compete athletically. I'm not talking about the gym, pick up basketball. I'm talking about going and playing in a team sport against biological women who have not gone through male puberty. Okay. And
agreed.
That's just a consequence to your action. That's just what it is. And I you know, it makes absolutely no sense. And the fact that they continue to stir it shows, you know, how bad their ratings have become and why they're getting rid of everybody at ESPN. And I'm not trying to be, you know, Mr. Conservative sports guy and bash on them, but it just goes to show you how desperate they are for attention. Because without them doing that yesterday, I don't think anybody's even talking about ESPN today.
Oh, right. That's another way to analyze it. But yes, they and we don't scream at each other at all. We should maybe we up our ratings and views if we screamed at each other.
Yeah, we can scream at each other. We'll scream at each other during football season.
All right, folks. He's Bergie. I'm Booker. We do what we do. Do it pretty well. Cheers, brother.